I only joked. I swear I only joked, I said. I'll pretend to be your boyfriend. And she laughed until she didn't. She looked up at me with those shaking hands and whispered, then we'll need practice. No one will buy it, not even him. I didn't know then that saying yes to her would change both our lives forever. I met Eva on a day when the world already felt too heavy. I was shelving boxes at the small-town bookstore I worked at, trying to forget that life had become mostly bills, broken dreams, and a silence that didn't leave my apartment. She walked in looking like she was trying to blend into the wallpaper, hood up, shoulder tight, eyes scanning the room like she expected danger to step out of the shadows. She asked me where the poetry section was, and before I could answer, her hands fumbled, knocking over an entire display of journals. They hit the floor with a loud slap. She froze, mortified. I laughed, not to mock her, but because she looked like she needed someone to break the tension. I'll pretend to be your boyfriend next time, I joked. That way people will think the mess was mine. I expected her to roll her eyes, maybe smile, maybe tell me I wasn't funny. Instead, she stepped closer. Too close, desperate close. Can you really? She whispered. My smile fell. This wasn't serious, I said gently, but she kept staring like her life depended on my answer. That's when I noticed the bruise under her sleeve, the way her fingers trembled, the way her eyes kept darting to the window. Someone was looking for her, someone dangerous. Before I could ask, the bookstore bell chimed. A tall man walked in, cold expression, stiff steps, scanning every corner like a predator searching for prey. Ava's voice nearly cracked. That's him. I understood instantly this wasn't a joke anymore. I had seconds to decide, step back and pretend she was a stranger. Or I moved. Without thinking, I wrapped my arm around her shoulder and pulled her close. She flinched at first, then pressed into me as if she'd been underwater too long and I was her oxygen. The man stopped right in front of us. His jaw tightened. His eyes narrowed. Have you seen a girl in a gray hoodie? He asked. Voice hard enough to scratch the floor. Ava buried her face into my chest, and for the first time in years I felt protective. Alive. Useful. I met the man's stare. No, I said. Just me and my girlfriend. His eyes slid between us, her trembling fingers gripping my shirt, my arm around her, and for a moment he looked uncertain. Then, without a word, he turned and left. Ava sagged with relief, but didn't let go. She stayed hidden against me until the doorbell chimed again, this time with the sound of him leaving. When she finally looked up, her eyes were glassy. Thank you, she whispered. But if we're going to make this believable, we'll need practice. No one will buy it. Not even him. I laughed softly. Practice what exactly? And her answer was the moment I unknowingly stepped into a story far bigger than myself. Practice being someone who loves me, she said. At least until I'm safe. I didn't know then that nothing about this would stay pretend for long. I should have said no. Any sane person would have. But there was something about the way Ava stood there, fragile, drenched in fear, but still trying to hold her world together, that made saying no impossible. We left the bookstore through the back alley. She kept glancing behind us, afraid that men would jump out of nowhere. I walked slower, making sure she didn't feel rushed, making sure she felt protected. Why was he looking for you? I finally asked. She hesitated. You ever help someone who didn't deserve it? I nodded. Once, she whispered. I helped the wrong person. I stayed too long. I forgave too many things, and when I finally tried to leave, he didn't like losing control. My stomach tightened. The bruise on her arm made sense now. The fear. Everything. So she added softly, I ran. And he's been following me ever since. We reached my apartment, small, messy, nothing impressive. But her shoulders relaxed the moment we stepped inside. It was the first time she seemed to breathe without shaking. I poured her water. She held the cup with both hands like warmth itself might break her. Then she said it again, clearer this time. We need practice. I sat across from her. Practice what? She lifted her eyes. If he comes back, if he sees us, if he doubts anything, you'll have to look like you care about me. Like I matter to you. The request twisted something inside me. Not because it was difficult, but because she said it like she didn't believe she deserved to matter to anyone. So we practiced, awkwardly at first. Simple things, standing close, laughing on cue, leaning into each other like a couple would. But somewhere between pretending and reassuring her, something shifted. When she smiled, really smiled, the room didn't feel so empty. When she talked about her dreams, ones she'd buried years ago, I felt something warm bloom in my chest. When she laughed at my stupid jokes, it wasn't practice anymore. It was real. Over the next few days, we created our own script. Where she'd stand, how I'd hold her hand, what I'd say if he confronted us again. But the truth? None of that mattered, because what grew between us wasn't rehearsed, wasn't fake. One night, while I was cooking instant noodles, my specialty, she leaned against the counter and said something that froze me. "You make me feel safe." I turned to her. "So you trust me?" She nodded. For the first time in a long time, I wanted to tell her I felt something too. That pretending to be her boyfriend didn't feel like pretending anymore. That I'd protect her even if the whole world turned on us. But before I could speak, my phone vibrated. A message, unknown number. "You're not her boyfriend. Give her back." A chill ran down my spine. He had found us. And suddenly, everything we'd practiced wasn't enough. The story wasn't about pretending anymore. It was about surviving together.